And I think the idea there is simply the fact that it's funny because now that we're in this financial crunch is when what God said all along, people are just now starting to catch up to, right? They're just now starting to catch up to the fact that like, oh, I've been messing up with my money. I need to get my name right, right? They're borrowing less, or they're working on reducing their individual debt because they understand when they come out of this thing, you know what I'm saying? They want to make sure that they have a strong name for borrowing or for whatever. So that's just like an interesting way to look at it. I want to take, though, for our discussion, and I only have a few minutes here, and spin it out into looking at this same idea of a good name being rather to be chosen from a different perspective. And that is this. Hold on, I got to change to perfect gallery view. And that is this. So you guys know what happened to me about a month ago, a little bit more than a month. And I was on a very, very interesting sort of like first time ever experience being in South Carolina, being interviewed for a job with my family. Like first time it had ever happened. I'd never seen anything like that. And I didn't even know that people necessarily did that. And but it was refreshing. And I thought it was an opportunity to really show that I really live this, what I say in terms of ministry, coaching, you know, personal, professional development, spiritual development, et cetera. And so as we're sitting there in like the middle of day 2, you know, somebody, I forget who it was at that time, but asked my wife because they wanted to get her sense of, you know, like who I am as a person and how was I really feeling about, you know, the possibility that I was going to accept this job, like, and have to move all of this distance. And my wife said, Shayla was like, I'm really not as worried about it because I trust John, because I know he's the type of man who is so rare, you know, in the sense that like all the things that he does, like he really tries his best to actually live by that. So she said, she said, I feel comfortable with the decision that he makes because I know basically like his interest is really for us as a family. So I feel totally comfortable by this whole scenario. And when she said it, bro, I promise you, I had heard my wife, I think one other time, sort of sing my praise that way, but she was on an interview. She was on a women's empowerment podcast, and they were interviewing her separately. So I wasn't in the room with her. To hear my wife sitting 4 feet from me say this stuff to these people, first of all, I completely melted. Like I was like mush. Like I was done, pretty much. Like that was a wrap, right? But the second thing that happened was like, oh, this interview is over. Like from that point in, like I said, it was the middle of day 2 worth of interviews, and up until that point, I had been trying to do like the hard sell. I was trying to reassure everyone who would listen, like, yeah, I'm the right man for the job, and here's what, right? But as soon as she said that, it was just like, all right, I'm done. Like I put everything in cruise control, and it was like, yo, she just did something she put something in the room that was just undeniable, that like nothing else need be said. And so what that leads me to, just in terms of like a very valuable lesson and sort of takeaway, is the fact that as she affirmed me, it taught me, it was a real live example that your name carries weight. And with that weight comes the momentum that can either drive you closer to or further away from your goals. Right? Let me say that again. Your name carries weight. Who you are, your reputation, what other people have to say about you. It's not about trying to please other people. It's not about trying to curry their favor, but it is about being the kind of a man who, when other people do bring up your name and who you are, it's spoken with such a weightiness that just that third party validation unto itself is like, yep, here's the guy, this is the one you want. And so for our discussion today, I want to pose the question again, as I did before. Yes, you know, what do your references say about you? But even deeper than that, is your reputation helping you to get closer to your goals? And if not, how many reps do you need to put in to turn that around? Now, the reason why I say reps is this, and I'm gonna say this and stop. I say reps because that getting to that place where I could hear my wife say that did not happen overnight. I promise you that was work. I promise you on everything I love that we almost didn't make it out of, I would say, year 1.5, year 2 of our marriage. I promise you. So I had 2 years worth of running roughshod over my wife and making her life miserable, and then stacking that up against 5 years, the last 5, because we're coming up on 8 years in about 2 months. So 5.5 years and change of grunt, sweat, like earning it, building out the resume, getting those reps in, affirming her and her value, pouring into her, washing her by the water of the word. So that was all work that I had to put in. And now finally, after toiling, sowing those seeds, right, breaking the soil up, all that work and that grunt and sweat, is finally that momentum starting to take over, to where now she said that one thing, and now this door has just opened for me, and they offered me the gig, right? So now I've literally walked into and have become a man who God chooses, at least for this particular role, and have lived the fact that my reputation now carries that weight. So again, is your reputation helping you to get closer to your goals? And if not, how many reps do you need to put in to turn that thing around? Floor is yours, gentlemen. Yes, sir, Chico.